A law passed 20 years ago aimed to make everyday life in Ontario much more accessible to people with disabilities by the start of 2025. Now, the legislation targeted such areas as workplaces, transit, and public spaces as well. But as Philip Lee Shanok tells us, now that the deadline to implement the act has arrived, many think the province is a long way short of meeting its goal.
It's unlikely that come New Year's Day, these obstacles will suddenly disappear. This advocate and entrepreneur says she feels overlooked again.
Basically, what the province is saying is that the rights of people with disabilities are not that important.
The law will require organizations across a province to identify and remove physical barriers. But she points to a lack of enforcement, so breaking the law will have no consequences.
We don't look at other legislation this way. You know, when rules are set, when laws are put in place, there's an expectation that those are met. And yet, with accessibility, it seems to kind of slip between the cracks.
Penalties for violating the act are stiff. $50,000 a day for individuals and $100,000 a day for corporations. But the province won't be forcing compliance.
We don't believe in punishment, but we believe in education. We educate, and 99% of all the accessibility audit is resolved. So it's working.
Those audits rely on organizations to self-report whether they're in compliance, not on inspections or complaints from the public. So once it does become the law, people who are faced with barriers like this don't want to be acting as accessibility police. They want governments to take leadership roles.
We shouldn't have to fight barriers one at a time. That's an unfair burden to dump on vulnerable people with disabilities. That's why comprehensive legislation was passed with a view of the government leading us to the goal of an accessible province.
With 27% of Canadians living with a disability, a growing population as people age, advocates say politicians need to pay attention.
We have a lot of voices that are loud in our community, and we need more people with lived experiences, more people with disabilities to be part of solutions.
And they say the province doesn't see accessibility as a goal with a deadline, but a destination that will be arrived at someday.